What's going on? It's time for another episode of Too Hard for the Radio. Transmitting from the future-free state of Greater Idaho, I am the one-armed madman. And back with me today from the country music capital of the world, we've got the great Daniel Steele. How we doing, brother?
It's just Music City, bro. We're getting so many well, my wife and I listen to like sub-genres of dubstep, like not the Skrillex shit that you hear on the radio or whatever. And like there's 5 shows that we're going to see at the end of the year.
Nice. We're the music capital of the world then, not just
Music City, baby.
Music City. I'm going to write that down so I get it right next time. Music City. I want to take a trip to Tennessee at some point. I love music. I love country music. I love folk music. I love it all. I'm going to see Pennywise at the end of this. I'm going to see Aaron Lewis and Stained, and then I'm going to see Pennywise like the next week. So,
that's awesome.
We're rocking and rolling. We're going. It's going to be my little brother. He's 11, maybe he's 12 now. It's going to be his first concert. Aaron Lewis, Stained. Not a bad show.
Who are your parents?
My mom is 20 years older than me, so she's 38. It's not her son; it's her stepson. But her.
Wait, you're 18?
Huh?
You're 18?
No. Oh, I'm 38. No, she's 58. Sorry. She was 20 when she had me. So yeah, I don't know where I was going with that. No, she's young though. She's still young.
Yeah.
At this point, when we walk into a store together, we could be married. It's not that far off.
So I'm 46 this year. I turned 46 this year, and my wife is in her 30s, and we get the father-daughter every once in a while, which is fucking weird.
Yeah, that sucks. That's nice. So you get a younger wife. My ex-wife was 4 years older than me. Wouldn't have worked out.
Fucking Mrs. Robinson.
Yeah, falling apart quicker than me. It's not going to happen.
Yeah.
Well, shit. We've had some shit go down in the past couple days, huh?
Yeah. So, God, I don't even know where. Oh, let's talk about dogs.
Yeah, dogs.
So you have a Jack Russell. He's fucking insane.
Yeah. He's like, he has actual mental problems where when he was a puppy, he was like, he would guard me from my ex-wife. Like she'd try and bring me food on my chair and he'd kind of growl. Ugh. And he's this big, so it's funny. We think it's cute.
Well, he has good instincts, apparently.
Yeah, exactly. And now, man, for a long time, we had issues with food. And I just let him eat. And then he started like getting really crazy about his food. And I have his food in my bedroom. So it was to the point where like he would try and attack me if I'm going into my bathroom where his food is. So like just trying to deal with this, it's so annoying. And like he'll bite me. And if he bites me, he will fight to the death. There's no point in hitting him back because it just gets him fired up further. Like we took him to Minnesota with us to get my amputation done because we were going to be there for a while. And we were trying to get him into a crate before we got on the plane. And he just tore me up. So I had to go to the bathroom and I had just paper towels wrapped everywhere. And my arm is just dripping blood as we're walking on the jetway. And people are just looking at us like, because you could hear him. Like we were only a few feet away from where we're boarding and he is not happy. So after that, I never did like the technical service dog thing with him. I got a note from a doctor saying he was an emotional support animal. So at that point, like I just gave him sleeping pills and let him sleep on my lap on the way home. I was like, I'm not doing that again.
I'm definitely not advocating for this. I'm just going to state what the rules are through the ADA. If you have a dog and you call it a service animal, the only question that they're allowed to ask you is what service does it perform?
Yeah.
Nothing else.
Nope.
So people have fucking wild ass dogs on the plane all the time. And yes, service animal. And I had my ex would bring her dog as a service animal. This dog was 3.5 pounds, like miniature Chihuahua.
Yeah.
This fucking terrible dog. Well, not a terrible dog, but like terribly behaved dog.
Yeah.
And they're like, well, you can't let me see your letter. And I'm like, you can't ask for that.
No.
And they're like, yeah, we can. I said, do you want to go get your manager before you lose your job? And she's like, no, tell me. I said, I'm not talking to anybody like you. Like, go ask your manager.
Yeah.
because you don't want to lose your job. And she came back and she's like, I'm so sorry. I just need to know what service the animal performs. And like it's that simple.
Yeah.
We our older dog Dash is he's a pit bull, wiener dog, chihuahua, and 108 other dog breeds in one. We did
Yeah, yeah.
the DNA test for him. He's just like the sweetest dog, but he was just a little bit wild. He had some irrational fears. He was a rescue. One of my buddy's sisters runs a rescue, and in Vegas specifically, if you go to the pound, there's only pit bulls and chihuahuas, and
Yeah.
people want variety. So most of what she does is imports dogs from Mexico. It's harder to bring a dog in from Mexico than a human, apparently.
Mhm.
Um, and that she also takes the sickest dogs from the pound, and this guy got dropped off with parvo. We end up going through uh actually it's lead and thrive dog training. If anybody from Las Vegas is here, it's not cheap, but it's fucking changed the relationship with the dog. Like the trainer taught us, he's like, I train people to deal with their dogs, I
Yeah.
don't train dogs.
Yeah,
And like
that's the same thing with the dog whisperer. He
yeah,
trains people, trains the owners.
yeah. So and then the other, we just got a dog last November as a Havanese. Do you know about the breed
I'm
Havanese?
familiar with them. I'm not picturing it in my head, but I do know the name.
So they're like little, like 10 to 15 pound dogs, like little cute fluff balls. And they were the only dog native to Cuba. And my
Oh,
favorite
okay. Yeah, yeah. So they're
about
food. They're a food animal.
no, no, no. My favorite part about owning a Havanese is talking about the horrors of communism. So when the communist revolution happened, it was for the dogs were, they're just like literally clowns in dog form that were bred for the wealthy and elite. So when the communists took over, they started killing all the puppies. And I love telling that story to people because
Yeah.
like that's the horrors of communism.
Yeah. I've heard
Then
I've heard I that this is all ringing a bell.
yeah, we might have talked about this
I don't know
before.
I don't know, but I know where
Yeah.
you're going, kind of.
So this family like found out about him somewhere in the middle of America, and they went down to Miami and they found enough unique dogs from different bloodlines to save the breed. So they're just like starting to uptick, and this dog is fucking insane. The breeder that we bought him from, he had the day that we picked him up, he had never been without his litter mates, which is
Oh,
not
yeah.
good. And they had to put like an animatronic thing in there because he was just so stressed out. And then the lady's like, "Oh, I'm gonna call my husband in," and she's like, "Show him how he'll scream until you pick him up." So they taught this dog separation anxiety, and my wife and I, like, I'm very fortunate we don't argue unless we're really drunk,
Yeah.
which doesn't count. We don't argue about anything. It's like, oh, I don't want her to be a loser. She doesn't want me to be a
Yeah.
loser. We just want to find a middle ground. This is the most stressful part of our marriage so far, hopefully ever. But we ended up having like we would have to one of us would sleep in the guest room with a baby monitor because this dog would wake up every 3 hours and just
Oh,
start
wow.
going ape shit. So we the Lead and Thrive guy knew somebody in Kentucky and we dropped him off last year around Christmas time. We call it Pauschwitz.
Yeah. That's good. I like it.
Yeah. But not now he's just such a good little dude, and
Yeah.
he's a character. He's just now getting into affection. Like he liked getting petted before, but he
Yeah.
never really cuddled.
Yeah.
Uh, but yeah, he chooses violence. Like we'll be sitting on the couch. I'll like put the recliner thing down, and the bigger dog will jump up, and this dude will be asleep, and he'll just jump up and start attacking his brother. He like always chooses.
Yeah, Ozzy, he's a fun dog. Like 99% of the time, he's great. Like most people don't even see the hard time with him.
Yeah,
But like not like he likes to cuddle. He loves to sleep with me every night. We've spent every day of our lives together. Like I
yeah,
haven't worked since the day we got him.
yeah.
And like I've had a couple of trips to North Dakota or Minnesota where I've been gone for a couple of days where he's like had to go and stay with my mom. He does not do well when I'm not home. And
So,
I joke that like I get separation anxiety as bad as he does.
oh
Like
yeah, we
when I moved here, I had a little Jack Russell. It was my mom's dog that I had known for a long time, and she couldn't take care of him anymore because of the new family. So we brought him here, and within a couple of weeks of moving here, he got out of the backyard and got ran over by a car. So
Oh,
now I'm just like always fucking crazy about where is he? Did make sure he doesn't get out. And even like I had to go and had some prosthetic work done today, and I was gone for like 2 hours. And on the way home, I'm like speeding, just to like because I get so worried about it, and it's such like a ridiculous like modernity type of affliction that I have on it. But he's the best friend I've ever had. We spent every day together, and I enjoy the hell out of it. The only real problem that we have now, because I'm pretty good at this point. He's 8, so he's not like super. He's still crazy for a normal dog, but not as
yeah,
bad as he was when he was younger. But they
yeah.
started doing I have an airport right by my house, and they do an air show every year, and they started bringing in F-35s a couple years ago,
Okay.
and the sound just terrified him, and like which is justifiably right. Like I
Yeah.
can't imagine how terrifying it is for people when it's not for show. And so now noises just drive him crazy. Like he's scared of the lawnmower. If I'm watching like body cam videos on my iPad at night and there's a beep, there's always beeping and shit going
Yeah.
on those.
Yeah. Yeah.
He goes fucking nuts. He gets terrified. He's shaking and you just can't handle it. It sucks. We got this stuff that's like an essential oil type of thing that has lavender in it. That if you put a couple
Mhm.
drops on the back of their ears, it calms them right down, which has been really great because the only other way to do it was medication.
Yeah. So not to pimp my product, but oh, there he is.
Yeah, there he was.
What's up, Ozzy?
Yeah.
Oh, you can't hear
No,
me.
he can't hear me.
Um,
He's trying to get up on my lap right now, but
so
there's no
the
room.
plant that is active in our product is called canna, or some people call it canna, which is funny because like I hear South Africans say it and they use a hard A
Uh,
in canna, but it feels like everybody's trying to mimic
uh,
the South African accent. So it's
uh,
like anyway, it's a mood stabilizer. They started introducing it to children through breastfeeding, and then
mm,
they take it their whole life cycle. Um, and it's an adaptogen, so it has a ton of different things that it can do for you. These aren't medical claims; these are just like what I've read.
anecdotal
Uh,
stuff.
but one of the things that it is good for is anxiety. So, like the product that we make. Oh, I'm actually wearing a shirt. Hey, what's
Nice.
the product that we make and market is meant for more of a alternative to street drugs. So the indigenous people in South Africa are really good at killing large animals with small arrows. So
Ah,
they'll shoot an arrow, it'll hit the animal, and it'll take them 2 days to track it. So, and since it's an adaptogen, it helps them suppress the need for water or food as they're tracking the animal. And then when they finally hit the animal, when they finally get to the animal, their serotonin releases, and this helps your brain maintain its own serotonin as opposed to putting a bunch of shit in your product, or sorry, in your body. So they'll get to the animal and then they'll have the serotonin release and it stays up. So they have like this almost spiritual connection with the animal. And
wow.
then they'll have to do like dancing rituals.
Yeah.
So like our product, one of my partners, his wife has a hard time sleeping. She'll take it before bed, she'll relax and fall asleep. And then like we'll take it before we go out. We'll like right before dinner, we'll like we have uh something comparable to liquid IV, but has the can in it. We'll do that just and it pumps you full of vitamins. Then we'll eat dinner and then we'll just eat some of the chews. And it has I apparently I'm pretty sensitive to the plant, but it's been one of the most psychedelic things that I've ever done personally.
Cool.
Uh, but also for dogs, and that's where we're headed with this. It's really good for dogs with anxiety.
So as you're talking about this stuff, I'm thinking there has to be some military application for this. So I was typing in Kana and DARPA in the same thing to see if anything came up, and nothing came up. But it seems like that type of thing could be pretty useful for warfare.
So the only uh medical claims that you can make about it, or the only study that's been FDA cleared, was for premature ejaculation.
Nice. Oh
And
yeah.
I read the white paper, and they tested it on frogs to see if it helped improve and premature ejaculation. And I'm just wondering what the sample size, like how many times you got to
Yeah.
jerk a frog off, see what's premature and what's regular. And like,
Wait to come. We got to wait to
oh,
come.
there's an
The
episode.
frogs, they've got come. They're coming too fast. We have to slow down the coming.
There's an episode title. How many times do you have to jerk a frog off? But our
Speaking of how
dogs.
many times you have to jerk a frog off, Diddy was arrested.
Oh yeah. I do want to make one point real quick on dogs, and we
Yeah,
can
yeah,
move on. My relationship with my animals has always been like that's a dog, and the dog does the dog thing, and I do the people thing. But my wife, since we're probably not having kids, she's just like such a loving person. Like the dogs have become a part of our life.
yeah. Uh
Oh,
oh.
did you? Oh, you
Nope.
froze for a
We're good.
second.
We're
Okay,
good.
cool. So much so that this morning the older dog wouldn't eat, and we put a little water and some eggshells in his food, and I'm sitting there fucking hungover shit. I don't go out very often,
Yeah.
and one of my buddies did a pop up for his new restaurant. They're waiting on licensing, so they just gave food and they sold food, and then the bar like had drinks. I did my first shot ski ever. I woke up shaking and vomited and like had to take a little sip of rum to
Ooh,
get through the day.
it's rough.
But I was sitting there in my underwear, just like hand feeding this fucking dog, and I'm like, this is ridiculous.
Yeah.
But my other dogs just like had a bowl and they had their own dog door, and
Yeah.
now it's like, oh, we take them out, and it's a much different and interesting connection with the dog, and it's like way better than just like, oh, it's the dog. The
Yeah.
dog does the thing. So
We had this old dog when I was growing up. He was an Australian Shepherd, and he made it a long time. And he was a badass dog. Like he was just a badass dog. He was an outdoor dog. He didn't like living inside, but he was still like part of the family. And one day I remember getting a call from, I was fucked up on drugs at this point, just gone. And I got a call from somebody in the family. They're like, hey, the dog kind of got high centered on this piece of wood that we got, and he hasn't moved in a while. And this is probably going to be it for him. And he was such a cool dog. Like he would leave our house and go hang out at the forestry station next door. And he would also go to the drugstore down by the grocery store that had ice cream. So they would put out their ice cream tubs, and he dragged these big empty tubs of ice cream back to the house and eat them all. And he just got sticky all over him. So I went
yeah,
and grabbed him a pint of ice cream, and we just sat down and he ate some ice cream out of my hand. And he ended up pulling it together for a little bit longer, but I think that was the last time I saw him. And it was a good way for him to go out, you know.
yeah,
He was
absolutely.
still, the point was like, if he's still happy, we're gonna let him keep going. As soon
Yeah.
as we feel like it's so much of a burden that he's just in pain all the time and everything, like then we'll let it go. But as long as he's still gonna be able to get up onto the porch and say hi to everybody, like we'll let him go a little longer.
Yeah, we're gonna we so I signed the paperwork for our land today. It's gonna get countersigned on Friday. We're gonna have chickens, so we're gonna get probably a Pyrenees. I just don't know how we're gonna turn a dog into an outdoor dog because my wife is just
Yeah,
so willing. So then like we have this little puppy, we raise him a little bit, and then it's just like, all right, you're out with the chickens now.
yeah,
And I don't want to get it because I don't want that hairy ass fucking dog in my
yeah,
house.
yeah. And I think they get used to it. So like that dog was scared of thunder and lightning, and we'd
Yeah.
bring him inside during that. But as soon as it was over, he was like scratching at the door to get out. He just didn't like being inside. He liked, he had a
And
little
be
dog house out
contained.
on the porch, and that was his spot,
Yeah. So it'll be interesting to see. All
Yeah.
right, now uh to Diddy.
To bottles
I
of lube.
I want to pull up these lyrics.
Okay.
Actually, I'm going to do it in
While
incognito.
you're
So
doing this, I'll filibuster a little bit. While I was
okay,
looking into Diddy a little bit today, I was thinking like I don't know any of his songs. And like I never considered him to be a good rapper. And so I started pulling up like Rolling Stone and Billboard's lists of like 100 greatest rappers, 50 greatest rappers, and he was not on any of those lists that I pulled up. Not one. A surprising one that I did find out, however, though, was I accidentally clicked on 100 best West Coast rappers, and your favorite rapper's favorite rapper, Mac Dre, coming in at number 9 all time.
that's great.
Ooh, boy, that's huge.
Um, all right, so I'm gonna edit myself because I don't like using this word
Okay.
unless I'm singing in the car.
I say T-I double G Tigger. Oops.
My hope they know my fella fucking kidnaps kids, fucks them in the ass, and throws them over the bridge. Notorious Big,
Oh
who Puppy brought
my.
up in the song What's Beef.
Oh
Biggie knew.
my. Oh my. I was never huge into Biggie because it was a little before my time and a little farther east, and we just didn't really listen to it. So I did not know about that. That is something. So he must have made all of his money doing production work,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, yeah. No, like I couldn't name a Puff Daddy or
Me
Diddy
neither.
song that
That was
Biggie's
my that
not
was
it.
why I was looking up, is because I was like, I don't
Like
even like
I,
remember any of his early shit.
I think Mo Money Mo Problems was a Puff Daddy song, but it's a Biggie song, you know. Just like that song "Money Ain't a Thing" by Jay Z. That's not a Jay Z song. That's a Jermaine Dupri song,
Mm.
which was surprising.
It
But
it bothers me when artists don't write their own music. It does. Like
yeah,
I like singer. You being in Tennessee, like they have those shows where it's like singer songwriters come up and sing some of their song, and you're like, holy shit, that's a George Strait song or something like that, and incredible. But like a lot of these
I,
guys. So you remember when like Richmond, North of Richmond went viral, and there was that other song before it by fuck, I don't remember his name, the guy from the Las Vegas, Jason Aldean. He did some other small town. It was supposed to be viral. The reason that song didn't do what Richmond, North of Richmond did was because that song was written in a room full of writers for a purpose.
yeah.
We are going to give this guy a song that will go good with his crowd. It's going to be a hit. Where Richmond, North of Richmond was a singer songwriter pouring it out by himself.
I'm on the other side of the spectrum there. I like covers a
Oh, I do
lot.
too. I enjoy a good cover for sure. And on that,
Um,
like Linkin Park is back with a new lead singer. Do you see that?
like the so what was the dude that died from heroin? Chester?
Yeah,
His kid is getting death threats. I
really.
read
Because I
because they
thought that it was actually a pretty good cover. I think going to a female lead singer was probably a good move for replacing them. Or
and then
because you can't get a male that's going to replace that. I don't know. I listened to the
no,
show. I thought it
Sublime
was pretty
just did
good.
it too. Like I don't even know the lead singer of Sublime, the guy that died, his
Yeah.
name, but his kid is doing his role now, and they're on
Oh,
tour,
that's cool.
and
They
it's
just played.
fucking
They just
crazy.
played a couple miles from my house a few weeks ago.
Okay, yeah, it's really good. Like
I've seen
I got
Sublime with Rome, but I've never seen his boy.
no, this is just Sublime now.
Cool.
I saw like the first, like I saw a video of the first song, the first set that the show that this kid played, and it was like, you sound like your father.
Dude, he's
And
one of the most talented people who has ever lived. Just so fucking talented. I remember I was working this construction job and I was riding with this guy. He was in his 40s at the time. I was in my mid 20s. And I was playing music off my phone or something like that. And I put Sublime on. And he starts listening. He's like, "Oh man, these guys are incredible." And he'd never heard them before. And I'm like, unfortunately, the guy's dead, and it's
yeah,
kind of over. But he
well,
got
I
into
mean,
it, and he
maybe
just
they'll
like incredible.
record new. Maybe they'll record new shit.
That'd be cool.
I hope it's good. I hope they don't ruin it. But like, name better summertime music than Sublime or Bob Marley.
You can't.
You can't.
You
Yeah,
can't. We used to listen to a lot of Slightly Stupid. I enjoy some Slightly
and
Stupid.
I couldn't name a song by them. I'm sure I've heard them, but
Yeah,
I
you'd
could.
recognize them. I can't name any of their
I
songs
know the
either.
name.
Yeah,
I
it's a
have a
reggae
dog
band. They're
that
white
listens to it
guys
all the
doing
time.
reggae.
Okay. Yeah. Oh, all right. So Diddy.
Yeah. So
um,
tangent after
Biggie
tangent.
knew. Biggie knew, and also I would for lyricists, I I'd have to say Biggie's one or two. It's just like if you haven't really explored his music, I would encourage you
Oh,
to.
I've listened to a lot of it. I just not in the same way as like West Coast rap. Like I know a lot. If you throw a Biggie song on, I know the words to it for
Okay.
the most part. So like I'm in enough to what he was incredibly talented. Incredibly talented.
So the first dirty tape that I got, it was a tape. I'm aging myself. I'm 46. Was licensed or not licensed still. Too Short, Born to Mac.
Oh yeah, that's a great song.
No, the
Oh,
album
the
or
album.
the
Yeah,
first tape that I had.
is there a track
The
named that too? I don't know. Whatever.
yeah, I'm sure.
I think so.
And then like the first like edgy music my mom listened to was Nina Cherry, the Buffalo Stance girl. She raps some really ridiculous shit. And my sister would listen to it, so I'd get to listen to it. But
Yeah.
like Too Short was like my introduction. And then like 12. I was 12 working 40 hours a week. And I would take all of my money and I would go and buy tapes or CD.
Yeah.
It was still. And so like I just got into, NWA, Too Short. I guess Biggie I discovered on CD through Columbia. I never paid them. The fucking you get
Yeah.
your first free, and then
Yeah.
they
Yeah.
said you no. I'm like, oh, go fuck yourself.
Yeah.
I just like changed my name and they would send to the same address. So like I just got a bunch of free music through them. I'm hoping the statute of limitations is up on that, but
Dude,
I've always
it used to
well
be so
also
hard to get music.
yeah. I also like this is on the last one, which I don't know that too many people like not having the video might have turned people off, but
Yeah,
like I
it did.
grew up as a minority in Detroit. I was the white kid, and then I became a product of the or my parents couldn't take care of me, so I like went through the system in Michigan, and I was just always the white kid. So I that culture definitely impacted my taste in music
Then you're
for
the
quite a
white
while.
kid listening to West Coast rap in Detroit.
Oh yeah, I mean it's just what you listen to.
Yeah.
It wasn't like weird because that's what everybody listened to. So I got pretty into rap for a while. Before we get off the topic of covers,
Yeah.
do you know much about the song Watchtower?
Oh yeah.
So Bob Dylan made that song.
Yeah.
Then Jimi Hendrix performed it, and Bob Dylan said, "That's your song now. That
Yeah.
is not my song."
I've seen
And
Bob Dylan live. He is awful.
oh yeah, the fucking country show. I
Horrible.
went I went
Horrible.
and saw him in Toledo, Ohio. I was like running these charity poker games, and we were running radio spots to get people to come to our poker game. And they're like, "Oh, do you want some Bob Dylan tickets?" I'm like, "Fuck yeah,
Yeah.
I'll go see him." So we pregame in the hotel because I was living in Michigan, would drive down there every weekend. So I came on Thursday, so we get pretty lit in the hotel, as the kids would say, and then we get there and it's on a college campus, so there's no alcohol. And I just got sober. I sobered up at a Bob Dylan country concert. It was fucking awful.
So bad, dude. I went and saw him at the Berkeley Theater in Berkeley, obviously. And we were all the same thing. It's like, oh shit, Bob Dylan's in town.
Yeah.
And we go, and the lead singer of Dire Straits opened and just fucking murdered. So fucking good. Just
And Bob Dylan had to follow him.
yeah, and it was so embarrassing. Like me and my ex-wife were laughing about it. We couldn't even understand what song he was playing. Like you didn't know. It could have been anything. A couple times we were like, "Oh, I think I might remember I might recognize this." But dude, the guy's been smoking 2 packs a day for 50 years. Oh, yeah, Rush Hour. It's
I
like
saw
so horrible.
George Clinton in Parliament there's this venue in New Orleans called Tipitina's. It's not very big, maybe 1,000 people max, 2 stories, but like touring musicians will go and play there for way less money just to have played at Tipitina's. It's one of the best venues I've ever been to. And so I saw George Clinton in Parliament there, and George was so old that he just sat. He had like the Mardi Gras mask on.
Yeah.
He just sat and waved his hands while I presume I'm pretty sure it was his daughter was singing like the entire time. He was just in a chair going like this the whole time.
God. Oh my God. I've been to some great venues in San Francisco. The Fillmore is, the Fillmore is just fucking incredible. I haven't seen anybody great at the Fillmore, but it's just so great going to the Fillmore. And then the Greek Theater is awesome. Berkeley Theater is awesome.
The Greek is in in the Bay Area.
Yeah, they have a Greek theater there too.
Okay.
And then the Shoreline, I saw Black Sabbath at Shoreline, which was just fucking incredible. I mean, you've got people in their 60s crying because they've been waiting 40 years to see Black Sabbath for the first time. Just
I,
incredible.
I went to this festival. It's no longer COVID ruined it. Like they
Yeah.
just like probably had to pay all the artists still or
Yeah.
whatever. And it's called Voodoo Fest in New Orleans, or it was. And they're like, no matter what happens, rain or shine, this festival's gonna go on. And it rained so fucking much. So like I was doing really well at the time, so I got VIP passes, and they had to have just like fucking plywood in the VIP area just so that people wouldn't fall. They just had like plywood kind of pushed into the mud. So Saturday night headliner or second co-headliner was Jane's Addiction,
Oh,
going which is no longer.
yeah.
You saw that last week, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So Jane's Addiction goes into Ozzy Osbourne, and Flea and Dave Navarro stay on, and they're performing with Ozzy Osbourne in a fucking thunderstorm. And traditionally, I've dated younger women, and all of the people was with were like, "This fucking sucks. Let's go."
Fuck
I'm like, "Do
no,
you understand
man.
what you're
This
witnessing
is
right now?"
epic, dude.
Ozzy in a thunderstorm
Ugh,
with Dave Navarro and Flea. I'm like, I'm not leaving until I hear Crazy Train.
no,
So,
of course not.
and then the rain or shine thing, they canceled it on Sunday. They're like, "Do you just like we said rain
Sorry.
or shine
Yeah.
refunding? We can't do it." So we were in New Orleans. I'm like, "Oh, let's go to the football game." And I was with my girlfriend at the time and a lesbian couple, and they're like, "Yeah, fuck that. We're not doing that. We're sleeping." Like, because we made the mistake of going to New Orleans and going to Voodoo Fest. So we would go to Voodoo and then we would do Halloween in New Orleans. So we'd be out till like 6, 7 in the morning every night. And it's just too much to try to do both. And I'm like,
Yeah.
well, let's go to the football game. And they're like, oh no, that sucks. And the total score of that football game was like, I'm not a big sports guy at all, but like we talked about this last time, like the
Yeah.
energy and
Yeah. Yeah.
the total score of that football game was like 123 points,
Oh, wow.
and New Orleans won with a buzzer beater field goal.
Oh,
It was one of the crazy. I'm like, I just went to like this Irish pub right next to our hotel and just watched it because everybody's sleeping. I'm like, what the fuck am I gonna do? And it was one of the craziest games ever.
yeah.
And it just like didn't go because the girls didn't want to. But
Yeah. Dude, like speaking of performing in the rain, like one of the iconic MTV memories that I have is Bush playing Glycerin and dumping fucking rain during spring break. I don't know if you've ever seen that before, but it
no,
is something. It's fucking cool as shit, out there with the electric car, just getting fucking dumped on playing Glycerin. So freaking cool.
what what other songs did Bush? They did Zen.
They did Glycerin.
Ever Feel
I
Zen.
I know every time they come on the radio, I know the words to all their songs, but I'm blanking
Well,
on
yeah,
any of the
like
other
I don't
names right
remember
now.
too. It's not something that I go back and listen to.
No, me neither. They're
So
not one of my favorites. Just an iconic moment though.
yeah.
Like
Oh
something
yeah.
that you could look back and be like, I was there when that happened.
So the music that my wife and I listen to is like subgenres of dubstep, and it's about the music producer as opposed to the artist.
Mm.
So they play mostly 90s rap with these really wonky
Oh,
songs.
cool.
So like I've been listening to the same music for the last 30 years. It's the same shit. Like Biggie, Pac, fucking Yin Yang Twins, like
Yeah.
and then it's with this funky bass shit.
One of my favorite Mac Dre songs is actually done over a Beyonce track.
Yeah.
Which is it's so fucking cool. He does it slow. He does like a verse slow where it's all slow and shit, and then he speeds it up towards the end, and the beat speeds up. It's super fucking cool. It's a badass song.
There's this genre called drum and bass, and one of the subgenres is liquid drum and bass, which is like a little slow for me. And but my wife really enjoys it. So she listens, like one of her main mixes that she listens to is all 90s R&B to like a drum and bass beat. And then we'll like get out of the gym and she'll like start singing Aaliyah and shit.
Yeah.
It's just a little too I don't know. I like fight music.
Yeah. I was gonna pull these down earlier. So I've got actual Mac Dre cassettes still in the cellophane. This is
Oh wow.
yeah, this is Young Black Brother. And this is where's the other one? I have another one up there, damn it. Anyways, the other one up there is called Back in the Hood. and it was from the early 90s, and he was rapping over the phone in Fresno County Jail, and it was all about
Nice.
what he was gonna do when he got back in the hood, which is just
Nice.
fucking rad, right? Well, I think we've this is big. This is our Diddy talk right here.
Oh yeah, no, like I'm sure people were expecting Trump shooter, Diddy,
This stuff's
whatever.
interesting. It's fun. I like talking shit like this.
The only show that I saw in the Bay Area, I was at like a tech conference, and this is probably 10 years ago. And they're like, Two Shorts performing. I'm like, fuck yeah. So I go to it and it's in this bar and they don't have a green room. So they put all the green room shit like around the back of the stage, which was like the stuff that they provided for their artists this time was chicken wings and Hennessy. And there's like 30 people, presumably his family or friends and stuff like that, just sitting there eating fucking chicken wings, drinking Hennessy out of the bottle while Too Short rapped. And it was one of the best experiences of my life.
The last bar I worked in, the first thing that I did when I started taking like control of the bar was discontinue Hennessy. My boss
Yeah.
was like, "Why do you want to get rid of Hennessy so bad?" I'm like, "It brings a bad crowd."
Yeah.
That's exactly why. Get rid of that shit. Man, there
Yeah.
was some great I saw some great shows in San Francisco. I saw Pearl Jam, Red Hot Chili Peppers, Van Halen. I saw Fish, which was interesting. I'm not a fan of Fish, but it was still fun, like seeing everybody
Dude,
do the thing and them
a,
playing the
a,
vacuum cleaner and shit.
a good jam band live. Like
Yeah.
I don't listen, I haven't in years, but like some of my favorite concerts were Dave Matthews shows.
Ooh.
And
Just
the
play Crash
inter
and get off the fucking stage.
no, dude,
I'm kidding.
it was interesting because like I probably saw them every year for 10 years. And the thing about that band is they react to the crowd's energy.
Ah,
So if the crowd sucks, they're done. Like if it's scheduled to shut off at 12, it's done.
yeah.
But if the crowd is great, it goes till 2 in the morning. And I my favorite instance of seeing them was at a place called Darien Lake, which is just an amusement park in upstate New York. And I got tickets, and it was April or May. It is May, because somebody had bought them. My birthday is in June. Somebody had bought them for me for my birthday. So like we get a room at the theme park, and we're like, oh, we're gonna go ride roller coasters all day and then go.
Yeah.
The theme park was closed.
Oh, that's great.
Then we had just the amphitheater lawn seats, and it was a thunderstorm, and it was just one of the coolest shows ever. But like, still don't ever turn on his music anymore.
Yeah, I saw Blues Traveler there also, and that was probably the best jam band. They're not quite a jam band, but
Oh, they're pretty jammy.
it was good. You know, they did a lot of jams in the middle of their songs, and that guy is fucking talented. I mean,
Yeah.
he plays the harmonica just incredible. He was something. You know, I actually did see Jane's Addiction while I was there. We were at an AA meeting one night, and a buddy texted me. He was like, "Hey, Jane's Addiction's doing a pop up, you know, just like a last minute show," and got down there. Fucking Dave Navarro's dressed like a vampire. It was badass.
I was surprised at how few songs I knew when I saw them.
Same, same. I didn't know many of them. I was never that into them. Dave
Yeah.
Navarro's a bit weird for me. Like I like a good lead guitar player. Like I got my Black Label Society shirt on now. Like Zach Wild's one of my favorites. You know, speaking of
I
like, we were talking about the Rolling Stones 100 Greatest. I was at a grocery store in San Francisco one night, and they had Rolling Stone 100 Greatest Guitar Players. I'm like, let's see where Zach Wild's at on that. So I bought it, and he wasn't in there. I was so fucking pissed. I've still got the goddamn magazine sitting on my coffee table.
How old is it?
The magazine, probably 2012.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because any list that doesn't include Gary Clark Jr., I don't give any credibility to.
I believe he was in the up and comers section of
Okay,
that
yeah,
because he was
that
still
makes
new
sense,
back
like,
then. He is
yeah.
good. He is really
Yeah,
good.
he's so
I've seen
fucking-
him. I've watched some of his live performances where he's not as good as his performance stuff. Like he makes a little bit more mistakes than some of the
Okay.
people I've heard live.
Yeah.
Like I was listening to him Rogan one time playing, and I was like, wow, he does not sound nearly as good as on his record show. But I've also seen other live shows where he was incredible. So
Yeah,
I'd
that's
love to
probably
see
just
him.
I've had bad days at work too. you know.
Oh yeah, dude. It's like
Oh yeah, so Diddy.
not everybody's Eddie Van Halen. When I went and saw Van Halen, I went with a buddy who was a very good professional guitar player. He just played rhythm for a lot of bands in San Francisco, and he was kind of like, I'm not really a big Van Halen guy, but I'll go since you want to go. And he
Yeah.
just had a blast. And at the end, he's like, I have to completely rethink everything I'm doing. He was like,
Wow.
that guy was so incredible. He didn't make a single mistake. Just like he was blown away. It was so cool to watch somebody because like I can go to a dirt bike track, and if me and you went to my local track here and there was a mid-pack pro rider, you could go, that guy's the greatest rider in the world. And you would totally believe that. I'd see it and I go, well, no, not really. This and that and that. But to your eye, you wouldn't see any of that. You just say, this guy's amazing, And
Yeah.
like he can do the same thing with a guitar player that I could do with a dirt bike rider. So it was really cool to see somebody like that I considered to be extremely talented, just in awe of somebody else.
Yeah. All right. So Diddy.
Yeah.
I read somebody's opinion, which I think I tend to believe, because there's initially some court documents that named a bunch of record execs, and this warrant doesn't name any of them. And I believe that I don't believe I buy the premise that the record execs were like, go arrest him, get the hard drives and delete them, and then put him in jail for the other shit that he did. And I think that's probably the more likely story. The question is, did he have shit saved in the cloud?
Yeah. And the other question is, why now? Why not months ago? Why not next month? Why did it have to be right now? Is it just a distraction for the election, for the second assassin, for Tim
For
Walz being part of this, a CCP agent? Like,
none of that shit fucking matters. That's all a distraction from Britain is negotiating with Ukraine to
yeah,
use US long range missiles to shoot into Russia, which Putin said, and I'm not a international law guy. He said that's a declaration of war.
yeah. We played a video on the show last night of this big barrel chested ex fucking Marine who's jogging, and he's like, all right, folks, we're
His
getting.
titties were flopping a
Yeah,
little.
did you see that one? He's like, we're gonna go to New York or DC, and we're gonna arrest you criminals.
Yeah,
And
even
like,
you, MGT.
yeah, which I loved that. Like, I like watching Marjorie Taylor Greene because she's fun, but I love that he was willing to call her out. I thought that was cool. So a couple questions about that guy. First off, why haven't they found the left wing version of that guy to kill Trump? Why do they keep finding these fucking lunatic retards? Like, there are left wing guys of them. There's a guy who Judge Knapp's been interviewing from Ukraine since the beginning of the war, who's a ranger, and he's a mercenary. Like, you can't find someone like that. And then also, like, they should be scared shitless of that guy because he's serious.
Yeah. So this is why I think that the actual government might not be involved. Fucking the beepers blowing up everybody's dicks yesterday, and then they blew up a bunch of iPhones today.
Oh, really? I didn't see that.
I just saw that.
I'm just getting like inundated with memes about it, but
yeah,
like seeing the actual story is rough.
Actually, I'll send you a video. It's just like outside of a where did I say?
I have a video of a bunch of guys getting blown up. Like,
no,
guy
this is just. Sorry, go ahead.
Oh, I was gonna say there was a video where a guy was getting blown up in the barbershop. His face gets blown apart. There was another one where a guy in a grocery store gets blown apart. And then just like a couple guys walking down the street getting blown apart too. That's a weird story.
Yeah, but that's like my point. So Israel's able to permeate what's the name of the Hezbollah. They're able to permeate Hezbollah, sell them pagers, and sell them exploding pagers. And then our government, if our government was behind it, hired these two bombs like a full conspiracy from the top down. And that's something that we didn't talk about the other day. Um, the the I sent you the report on just like how it's like clearly something in the Secret Service. There has to be a conspiracy inside the Secret Service after the congressional report on what happened.
I think that there are loose factions in the government right now that are vying for control. I think you've got guys in middle management who are making decisions that are above their head, off board. That's kind of what I think is going on, where you've got a group of Secret Service that are sick of the way things are going, and you've got another group who want nothing to do with Donald Trump. And these two groups are at war with each other, I think. I don't think that these factions are started in the Secret Service. I think they're started elsewhere. Maybe not even, like you said, within the government. This could be something from the Rand Corporation. You know, it could be anything like that.
Because if Israel can pull that off, but our government, like if the full power of our government couldn't kill the former president, I just don't believe that. So I like the middle management idea. And we talked about this last time. They have fucking U.S. Marshals registering Mexican nationals that are in prison in the United States. So like there's definitely people that will just toe the line. Yeah, maybe their belief system is they want Harris, or they'll just toe the line because that's what they're told to do. There's got to be some bad motherfuckers out there that they could call and be like, yo, this has to go.
Yeah.
I never thought of a middle management, we'll just call it middle management theory.
Yeah, like a coup from middle management, where they're not happy with the people pulling the strings right now. And I honestly, like, I think I told you, I saw this video of Hillary Clinton reacting to Biden stepping down, and when we got the call, we were so surprised. And I'm like, yeah, right. Like you didn't know.
Made the call.
But it is possible that they didn't know it was going to happen. Maybe it was some other faction. I don't know at this point. Like, I'm with you. I think she probably knew. But
did you see the video from MSNBC since the last time we talked, where Clinton wants to prosecute people for spreading?
And then Jeremy Kauffman gets a visit from the FBI that same fucking day.
Which is hilarious. Did you play that yesterday?
Oh, I did.
Okay.
It was incredible. I've jerked off to that video like 50 times this week.
I don't know that. I mean, I think I'd just be like, Warren, no, okay, I'm gone. But that dude has, like, he must need a wheelbarrow to walk around with balls that big.
Yeah. He did a great ad when he was like running for something called War is Gay. Did you ever see that one? Oh, I got to send it to you after this is over. It'd probably take too long to find it. Let me see if I can find it on YouTube real quick. But essentially, he's like dressed up as a gay guy, and he's just like, we need gay bombs, and we need gay this, and we need oh, here it is.
Picture this. Innocent people in the Middle East. They're having dinner. A bomb is dropped on their house, and they're all killed. What's the problem with this? It's being done by white men. I am Jeremy Kauffman, the Chief Diversity Officer at Halliburton and candidate for United States Senate. It is time to diversify the murderous military-industrial complex. We need to make the nukes gay. And that's why I'm running for office. Like my fellow Democrats and Republicans, I will support every war. I will support stealing billions of dollars from Americans to kill innocent people, but we are gonna make it so gay. It will go down in the history books. We will say never have so many genders and so many races killed innocent people. Let's bomb Yemen. But let's make sure a rainbow of skin colors are dropping those bombs. These are gonna be the gayest transit murders the United States has ever performed. That's what I stand for as the Chief Diversity Officer at Halliburton, and that's what I'll do once elected to the United States Senate. I'm Jeremy Kauffman, and I'm gay for this message. I'm serious.
I'm serious. It's something, man.
That is great.
He's got balls of steel, that guy. I thought he handled that perfectly. I thought that was a perfect example of a First Amendment audit of telling cops to go fuck themselves. Like, yeah, you should be embarrassed. You should be ashamed. Can you stop recording, please? I'd rather not be on video. Well, you're on video now, buddy.
Number one, sure, we have rights, which we can, like, the way that we can exercise those rights is through the justice system, right? And they can get thrown out, whatever. But you're still one-on-one with somebody that probably beats their wife and has a gun. So I'm pretty compliant. Like, I won't answer questions. Do you have a warrant? No. Okay, have a nice day. That's it. But I'm not gonna be like, you should be fucking ashamed of yourself.
Yeah, that's a little scary.
Yeah. We few episodes when we did Three Guys, Four Arms, I said that I was gonna vote, and I've changed my position on that. And I changed it last night. I was talking to somebody, and when I decided not to vote, I told him, like, I'm not going to vote, but look at how fucked up all these things are. And if I was coming from a position of I'm voting for this candidate, be like, oh, you're just like a Trump supporter or whatever. And they would lose a lot of the validity of, hey, this is all these fucked up things coming from both sides. And by not voting, I think that I can carry a better message to help people at least try to look into shit.
Yeah.
Dude, I live in fucking Tennessee.
Doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
Until Oracle moves here and shit, like, maybe they'll make it purple. I don't know. But like, my vote doesn't count at all.
No.
And it's just like a protest, the fuck you to the system. But like, I feel like I can have better intellectually honest conversations if I don't vote, because it's not tainted by, like, I'm rooting for this person. Yeah. This is why you should think the way that I think. I don't think anybody should think the way that I think. I've been having a hard time sleeping. Like, please.
Oh, me too. It's horrible. Yeah. No, I think that not voting is a bigger fuck you to the establishment than voting. Honestly, I think they would freak out a whole lot more if 10 million people less voted this year than in 2020. I think that would really freak them the fuck out. Like, well, it's this religious experience to them. And, like, I'm not into this. I'm not in your religion of statism. Like, I do not care. Like, I think that the country is going to have a better 4 years with Trump than Kamala? I do. Like, I do. But am I willing to, like, shit on my morals? Like, I've never thought voting was fair. If voting was fair, they wouldn't let us do it. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like even nobody listening to this podcast, me saying the way I think things are, does more to push the narrative than, you know, pulling a lever. That how many dead people, it's just a joke of a system. It's racist to have, you know, ID, but, you know, you can vote if you're a Mexican national in prison. It's just a disgusting display of, like, statist circle jerking. Like, they want you to vote, so they don't even really care if you vote for Trump, as long as you're voting. We got to get more people voting. More people. I think way less people should be voting. I don't think that I should be allowed to vote in this country. I am a 38-year-old childless, married, divorced male. Like, I don't, even though, like, I think things should be this way, and I think that's the way that we would have a better country. Like, I don't have as big a stake in this country being better than somebody who has kids. Like, I don't think that people who don't own land should be able to vote. Like, voting is essentially a way to. I'm with you. Yeah, essentially, voting is a way to take money from one class and give it to another, and it's always going to be the have-nots taking from the haves.
I think that. I'm not actually, with my new property, like, it doesn't matter. It's just, like, all red.
Yeah.
But here in Nashville, I was going to venture into understanding what local politics were. There's still something there.
Yeah, there is, but it's just such a nightmare.
But the city is so efficient. The state, we have no income tax. Our gas is like maybe 250, 260 right now. We have tax on shit that tourists consume. So like there's $1 a gallon on beer or something like that. Like we just do it through sales tax. Not we, the state
Yeah.
does. I don't do shit. But we have a surplus in a budget.
So do
Whereas
we.
California is like what 16, 17% income tax. Sales gas is like $5, $6 a gallon, and they run at a deficit. So like there's something to how these people are doing it. I just haven't taken the time to figure out like how that works.
No, I'm in the same boat. Like I sit around here watching the news and, I work on my house and I do shit, but for the most part, like I don't like produce much at this point. Like I'm in this fucking battle with disability, so I can't really work right now. And like at some point, like I think that I should run a campaign as like a speaking tour,
Yeah.
I'm going to run on, more parks and less industry in Nampa. We're going to put a dome over Boise and cut California off the side of the map. Like you just run on stupid shit like that. But like our state is very efficient too. So like you remember Three Guys, Four Arms when I was telling you about that concrete batch plant?
Yeah.
And your thing was it's going in.
Yeah.
It is not going in. They got the fucking boot. I hate government. I'm an anarchist. I think these are organized criminal gangs with enforcement arms with badges. Like these are dirty, disgusting, terrible people. That being said, traffic around my house is so much fucking better now than when I moved here. They tore out all our 4-way stop signs and put roundabouts in, which is just incredible. They're always throwing down gravel and tar to make our roads better. We completely got rid of smog. They just said, you know what? All of our cars are new at this point. And we don't need to deal with this shit. So we're shutting down all the smog. So we don't have to do smog at all anymore. We run on a surplus just like you guys are. Like we played a video last night of these black women screaming and yelling at their representatives somewhere around Chicago. We're $1 billion in debt and we're flooded with immigrants. And it's like, yeah, that's an unsustainable system. We are not really doing that around here.
And do you think that's because, just on the immigrant side, do you think that you aren't getting immigrants and we aren't either?
No, we're getting them, but it's not affecting our job market yet.
Okay. So, like, I feel like there are states that'll be impossible to flip, and Idaho might be one of them.
Yeah, it
Tennessee is definitely one of them.
Dude, our last election for governor, what's his name? Fuck. Who ran? Who's the guy with the land in Nevada? I don't remember. He ran as an independent. God, I can't remember. Anyways, the independent got more votes than the Democrat in this state. The independent. I'll have to look it up what his name is. Ammon Bundy. Ammon Bundy got more votes than the Democrat in this state. Yeah. He could have won. Like, Brad Little is a disgrace. He's a piece of shit. The one good thing I can say about Brad Little is he's not trying to further his political career. To me, it seems like he wants to have a nice lake house in Coeur d'Alene, and that's all his, that's kind of his purpose for politics. After the Ukraine war started, we had right down the street from my house, we had this place called the Lighthouse Rescue Mission. And they were kind of aimed at like helping homeless vets. That was kind of their thing. As soon as the war started, they shut that place down and opened up the Ukrainian Welcome Center. Oh boy. And when you click on the Ukrainian Welcome Center and you go to the About Us and you follow all the links, the governor's wife is linked to that place. So my thought is you donate to the Ukrainian Welcome Center and you get a meeting with the governor. So now the entire time I was freaking out at that place. I'm like, we don't want people who don't speak English, who are coming from a war-torn country. Like, we don't want these people here. The place never opened their doors. The doors were locked the entire time. They had a big barbecue one day, and then just out of nowhere, they moved it to a bigger, nicer building that has never been opened and reopened the Lighthouse Mission. So there are some scams going on around here. Like, they abandoned that scam as quick as they could and then went right back to it as soon as they had to.
Yeah, I think we should have open borders for Ukrainian women.
Yeah, absolutely. I'll take them.
But if you do the political thing, I'd be interested in like talking through this.
Yeah,
Um,
I'd run for
you got to
sheriff.
figure out the grift. Is it a book? Did
I'd
you
run for
see
sheriff just to be a
sheriff?
dick. Yeah, I'd run for sheriff.
In Texas, the second most powerful person besides the like behind the governor has something to do with the railroads.
Oh,
It's like
really?
the commissioner or something, and he's just like so powerful because it's like old timey laws that basically give him almost governor's power.
Yeah.
I always kind of wanted to run for that, but Texas,
Yeah.
man.
No, I would like to do
I
something
don't want
like
to get
what
paid.
Jeremy
I don't
Kauffman
want to.
did. Just make a mockery of the entire thing and hopefully like get some fucking votes maybe, you know? Like
I don't want to get death threats from people from Texas, but that state fucking sucks.
it does. It does. It's a
It's
shithole.
hot and humid.
It's flat.
So in Tennessee, like it gets up to 90 and it's humid, and we're like, oh, it's kind of hot like Nevada. Fucking when I lived in Dallas, it was 110 and 80%, 90% humidity. I had to stay up till midnight, take my dog out because the blacktop was too hot until midnight.
Yeah.
And then I'd set an alarm for 6 and take my dog out to I had like a balcony where she could use and like one of those like throwaway grass things. But to like actually exercise, or I had to go at midnight and 6 in the morning, and like you couldn't go outside. It was like oppressively hot.
Yeah.
Fuck that place, bro.
Yeah.
The food.
I'm not into it. I like Idaho, man. Idaho's beautiful. The Treasure Valley, like southern eastern Idaho, is not great. It's desert. It's kind of nasty. But the Treasure Valley is fucking incredible. You know, one night I was sitting out in my hot tub and I was all fucking stoned or something. And I just had this experience where I was looking around and I was kind of thinking about the geology in the area. And I went, son of a bitch, this entire fucking valley was a massive lake after the ice sheet melted. And there were people here that saw that. Yeah. And that's the reason we can grow shit here today is the Treasure Valley it's this beautiful lush area that was the bottom of a massive lake. And now we have this enormous aquifer beneath us that is as big as Lake Michigan. They don't even know how much water is in it. All they can really do is measure the output to see how much it's outputting each year. But it's just really an incredible area. I like having realizations like that where you look around and you're like, holy shit, man. There was a massive wall of water that came rushing down, and everybody who lived in this valley fucking drowned.
Yeah. My buddy's dad ran a resort for a while, well, up until like this year in West Yellowstone in Idaho. So my wife and I went there, and goddamn, was that beautiful. We rented a side-by-side, which
yeah.
I want to get in a side-by-side rental business because they're only like $20K and you rent them for $500 for 4 hours.
Yeah.
But like we took it up to the top of a mountain. It was just goddamn beautiful.
Yeah.
Fuck, we didn't even talk about we're over an hour.
I know.
We barely talked about the diddler.
That's okay.
It's always great though.
This is fun. I like doing podcasts like this. And we get more background information. That always helps, you know, see where people are coming from and shit like that. So I have no problem doing podcasts like this. To me, these are fun. They're easy. I don't have to do a lot of production. With my buddy Nolan, like we do a political show and we watch clips from the news, but he's not super plugged in. So I have to like produce a show. I have to get all these clips together. I have to send him all the clips so he can watch them in advance. People don't know, like, we put a lot of work into making this podcast sound as good as it does. Like, I think we have great sound, even like not as great when I have guests as like when me and Nolan, but like my buddy Nolan, man, his internet, you would think that when you decide to start a podcast, you would test the internet at the house that you were going to be doing the podcast out of, but we did not think to do that. So we bought all this nice equipment and we finally get the podcast going. It's like, man, you sound like shit. This is horrible. So we have to mute our Zoom and we do audio over a phone call. We have to hit our record buttons at the same time. And he has to send me his audio. I have to take each separate file, put them together. And then I have to screen record my iPad because if you pause a video, then you can't edit it together. So I have to screen record everything, put it in there. So it's a lot of work to do the Nolan podcast, but this is easy. I just plug in and go. So I enjoy this.
There's a AI for podcasts I'll find, and maybe we'll work out like a sponsorship with my brand or something.
Yeah.
Where they pay. not even like this is our target market, but fuck it.
Yeah, no, I'll run ads for your shit. I'll run that for free.
Yeah, just like, hey, here's the
yeah.
fill.
Yeah,
piece.
send me a shirt.
Very soon you can snort it. So
yeah, send me a shirt. I'll fucking wear it on the show when we're on.
I gotta get running.
Right on.
My dog.
Let me hit the music.
Great as always.
And we'll get the fuck out of here. Until next time.